A guy was convicted in Houston about 4 years ago. The DNA said he was guilty. He was innocent. The lab was crappy. They had a hole in the roof, it was leaking, their equipment was bad, their scientists weren't all that hot. So, you know, bad science is one of the things on the list. Okay, so Janet Reno gets it going. Then, two lawyers in New York at Cardozo Law School create the Innocence Project, the first project like the one that we have here in Kentucky. And they start working to exonerate people. And they start to find lots and lots of cases. And pretty soon it's 1, then it's 10, then it's 20, and they've got something going. They don't let it sit. They write a book called Actual Innocence, which is the first book on that list. And that's a very popular, easy-to-read book. Each chapter deals with another problem, but they tell you about real people whose lives are totally messed up by being sent to prison for things they didn't absolutely do. They absolutely did not do. And it's a very gripping book, and I use it. Use it in my classes. It's when you actually read about these cases, it really is very tough stuff. But they didn't just stop with publishing the book and getting a lot of people in the legal world interested in it. After that is when the articles started flowing, and legal writers are really excited about this. They went on and encouraged other places to form innocence commissions. And once there were 20, 30, now 40 innocence commissions around the U.S., Scheck and Neufeld didn't just stop there. They've created something called the National Innocence Network. They get together every year. This is a membership organization of these programs. And now they've hired a legislative liaison guy. Does that mean I have to stop? Oh, okay. Let me just finish with that. And so they are now actively promoting within the states and on a federal level the kind of policy changes that will hope to reduce wrongful convictions. The other big event was Governor Ryan in the year 2000 declaring a moratorium on the death penalty in that state. For 2 years, he refused to sign off on any death warrants while a commission got together to study it, and they came up with 85 recommendations. So there are lots of recommendations out there to improve the system. Scott Turow, the second book, famous novelist, was a federal prosecutor. He still practices law part-time. He was on that commission. He came on it saying, I'm sort of in favor of the death penalty. I'm not a big fan. And after reviewing the evidence said, no, I really don't think it's going to work in the U.S. because we can't make mistakes. In the death penalty area, juries now know that mistakes are made. The number of executions have fallen off in most states. The number of death penalties have fallen off. And the fact that mistakes are routinely made I think has given some fuel to the death penalty movement, which overlaps to some extent with the innocence movement. I could go on for hours really talking about this. What time did you say it was? 4:30. Well, we're almost there. If there's one more question. No? Okay. I've talked you down to the ground. All right. That's I want to thank you for inviting me here. This is a lovely area, for one thing. My wife and I just like the area. We spent some time in Berea today. We're going to spend the whole day there tomorrow. And this is a nice campus and a very impressive program. I should say that Dean Cordner, I saw his picture outside. He looks like Pat Boone there. It looks like he's about to go to heaven. I remember him when I was a faculty member, and he was a grad student at Michigan State University. So I knew him when. He's a little idealized in that picture, but he's a good guy. And I wish you well. And I guess the last thing I would say is that if the system understands that errors are made and doesn't get too defensive about it and too uptight about it and realizes that there are ways to solve those problems, one ultimate result is that it will turn policing and these other areas of criminal justice, which are filled with errors, into a more professional and exacting practice and science. So thank you. It was a lot of fun being here.